Lovely viewers, today's story is one that will touch your heart, stir your emotions, and maybe even bring tears to your eyes. We're diving deep into the full emotional journey behind Song HYE KYO's unexpected and vulnerable confession. "I just wanted to be a mom." It's a sentence so short, yet it carries the weight of years of unspoken pain, quiet battles, and dreams that she kept hidden from the world. When those words left her lips, the internet exploded with shock, support, and questions. Fans across the globe wanted to know, why now? What happened behind the scenes? And what does this mean for her future? It all started when Song HYE KYO appeared in what was supposed to be a light, casual interview. The interviewer was asking about her recent work, her fashion endorsements, and her plans for upcoming dramas. Everything was going smoothly, until the conversation unexpectedly turned personal. There was a brief pause, almost as if the question caught her off guard. She took a sip of water, her eyes darted away from the camera for a moment, and then she smiled faintly. That's when she said it. Those 7 words. Not in a dramatic voice, not as a planned announcement, but in a soft, almost trembling tone. "I just wanted to be a mom." The studio went silent. Even the interviewer seemed unsure how to respond. Fans who watched the live stream later said they felt an ache in their chest as soon as they heard it. It was clear this wasn't a random statement. It was a raw truth spilling out, unfiltered. And as we all know, Song HYE KYO isn't the type to casually share her deepest feelings with the public. This meant that something inside her had reached a breaking point, where keeping silent was no longer an option. Lovely viewers, this wasn't just about motherhood in the general sense. It was about years of quiet yearning. Song HYE KYO has been in the public eye for decades, loved for her beauty, talent, and elegance. But behind the glamorous magazine covers and blockbuster roles was a woman who, according to close friends, had always dreamed of having a family of her own. She wanted to cook breakfast for her children, help them with homework, and watch them grow. Yet, life kept pulling her in other directions. Career obligations, public scrutiny, heartbreak, and relationships that didn't work out. Some fans immediately connected her words to her highly publicized marriage and divorce with Song Joong-ki. The two had once been the nation's favorite couple, and many had assumed that marriage would naturally lead to children. But that dream was cut short when their relationship ended abruptly, with both sides releasing carefully worded statements to the media. Song HYE KYO never went into detail about what happened, but friends have hinted that the separation wasn't just about career differences. It was also about timing, expectations, and emotional wounds that never fully healed. In the days following her emotional statement, media outlets scrambled to piece together the backstory. Old interviews resurfaced where she had hinted at wanting to settle down someday. Fans began sharing clips of her smiling at children on set, or holding babies at charity events, saying things like, "You can see the longing in her eyes." Even her past co-star spoke up, with one actress revealing in an old behind-the-scenes video, "HYE KYO always lights up around kids. She talks about how she'd be the happiest if she had her own someday." But this confession wasn't just about longing. It was also about the silent battles so many women face. Song HYE KYO's statement resonated with thousands of fans who took to social media to share their own stories of wanting children but facing obstacles. Be it infertility, medical issues, societal pressure, or simply life not aligning with their hopes. Many wrote messages like, "I understand her pain," or, "This is exactly how I feel but never dared to say." It became a global conversation about womanhood, choice, and the emotional weight of unfulfilled dreams. Behind the scenes, those close to her say the past year has been particularly emotional for HYE KYO. While she has remained busy with work, from high-profile dramas to luxury brand endorsements, there have been moments when her friends noticed a quieter side of her. One close acquaintance revealed, "She's been reflecting a lot lately, not just on her career but on what truly makes her happy. She told me once, 'Success is empty if I can't share it with a child of my own.'" Lovely viewers, you can imagine how the internet reacted. Fans flooded her social media with messages of support, love, and encouragement. Hashtags like #WeLoveYouHYE KYO and #YouDeserveHappiness started trending within hours. Some even speculated if she was hinting at new developments in her personal life, perhaps a relationship, or even considering adoption or other ways of becoming a mother. However, HYE KYO has remained quiet on the specifics, letting that single emotional statement speak for itself. But what made this moment even more powerful was the way it seemed to soften the public's perception of her. In the past, tabloids had painted her as untouchable, almost too perfect. Yet, in that one vulnerable moment, She reminded everyone that behind the elegance is a woman with the same desires, disappointments, and dreams as anyone else. Fans felt more connected to her than ever before. Now here's where it gets even more interesting. Some insiders have suggested that this statement might not have been entirely spontaneous. There are whispers that HYE KYO has been in quiet discussions about stepping away from the industry temporarily to focus on her personal life. If that's true, it would be one of the biggest decisions of her career, walking away at a time when she's still in high demand. Could it be that she's preparing for a new chapter entirely focused on becoming a mother? Her longtime supporters are torn. On one hand, they adore seeing her on screen and can't imagine the drama world without her. On the other hand, they want her to find the happiness she's been yearning for. One fan commented, "If she leaves acting to become a mom, I'll miss her dearly, but I'll also be the happiest for her." Another wrote, "She's given us decades of her talent. Now it's her turn to live her dream." And of course, in true internet fashion, the discussion quickly looped back to her past relationships. Many speculated about whether her ex-husband had heard the statement, and if it stirred any feelings of regret. A few even wondered if it might lead to reconciliation talks. While there's no confirmed sign of that happening, the emotional weight of her words is hard to ignore. As days passed, HYE KYO's team released a short follow-up statement to the media, thanking fans for their outpouring of love. They didn't clarify anything further. No details about future plans, no explanations, which only fueled more curiosity. But perhaps that's the point. Sometimes you don't need to lay out every plan. Sometimes it's enough to speak your truth and let the world process it in their own way. Lovely viewers, this moment will be remembered as one of the most human, heartfelt revelations in Song HYE KYO's public life. It wasn't a scandal, it wasn't a scripted scene. It was a glimpse into the real woman behind the star. And whether she steps into motherhood soon or later, one thing is certain. She's given courage to countless others who share her dream but feel they can't speak it aloud. If you've followed her journey, you know she's faced storms before. Heartbreak, public criticism, and relentless media attention. And yet, here she is, still standing, still speaking her truth. That resilience is part of why fans love her so deeply. They see not just the actress, but the woman who dares to be vulnerable. And in today's world, that's a rare and powerful thing. This, lovely viewers, might just be the start of a whole new chapter in Song HYE KYO's story. One that's less about the bright lights of fame, and more about the quiet, profound joy she's always longed for. And you can bet the world will be watching, waiting, and supporting her every step of the way. The emotions that poured out from Song HYE KYO's heartfelt revelation have continued to ripple through the entertainment industry, stirring conversations, evoking tears, and reminding many of the deeply human desires that lie beneath the glitz and glamour of fame. When she spoke those words, "I just wanted to be a mom," it wasn't just a statement, it was a crack in the carefully polished exterior that the world had come to know. It was as though the poised, elegant, and fiercely private actress suddenly allowed the world to peek into her soul. And now, in this continuation of her story, the world is still holding its breath, leaning closer, and wanting to understand not just the headlines, but the heart behind them. The days following her interview have been an emotional roller coaster for fans. Many found themselves revisiting her older dramas, searching for moments where her longing might have shown through her characters. Social media feeds overflowed with clips of her smiling tenderly in motherly roles, fans posting captions like, "She's been telling us all along," and "Her eyes say what her words never did." And perhaps they were right. Perhaps that yearning for motherhood had been a quiet presence in her performances, subtly guiding her choices in roles and the way she embodied them. But this wasn't just about career reflection. This was about personal reality. The continuation of her revelation led to more candid details, though still spoken with the same grace that defines her. Friends close to Song HYE KYO began sharing that she had often spoken in private about the dream of holding her own child, raising them away from the limelight, and giving them the kind of love and stability she sometimes feared she couldn't fully receive herself while navigating a demanding career. Some recalled moments on set when she would linger around child actors, offering them snacks, engaging them in gentle conversation, and sometimes even volunteering to rehearse lines with them just to make them more comfortable. What made her statement even more poignant was the timing. It came at a moment when her name had been wrapped in endless speculation about her relationships, with past partners, rumored flames, and even surprise encounters with old friends. People had been focused on the who in her life, but in that moment, she shifted the narrative entirely. This wasn't about who she was with, but what she wanted for herself. And in doing so, she reminded her fans, and perhaps even herself, that her identity was far richer and deeper than the romance rumors. Behind the scenes, her closest confidants revealed that the words had been sitting on her heart for years, but she never felt the timing was right. The industry can be cruel, especially to women who voice desires that don't align with the relentless chase for stardom. She feared that speaking openly about wanting to become a mother might be misinterpreted as her stepping away from acting or hinting at a retirement, neither of which she was ready for. But life has a way of pushing us toward truth, and recent events in her personal life may have given her both the clarity and the courage to finally let those words leave her lips. And then there's the ripple effect, because her statement wasn't just personal, it was also universal. Women from all over the world flooded her social media with messages of support. Many shared their own stories of longing for motherhood, of facing fertility struggles, of dealing with the heartbreak of postponed dreams because of careers, relationships, or circumstances. "You said what I've been feeling for years," wrote one fan from Brazil. "Thank you for making me feel seen," another from the Philippines shared. In many ways, she became an accidental spokesperson for a truth that is both beautiful and bittersweet: the deep human desire to nurture and create life, and the societal pressures that can make that dream seem unreachable. Interestingly, the entertainment industry itself responded in ways no one quite expected. Directors and producers who had worked with her in the past began publicly praising her vulnerability, noting that her courage could open up space for more authentic conversations among celebrities. Some even hinted at creating projects centered around themes of motherhood and family, possibly inspired by her words. In private, colleagues admitted that her statement had made them reevaluate their own priorities, realizing that the race for fame often comes at a personal cost. But perhaps the most emotionally charged reaction came from those linked to her past, including the ever-present curiosity about how her ex-husband, Song Joong-ki, felt hearing her speak so openly. Rumors began swirling almost instantly, with anonymous sources claiming that he was deeply moved by her words, reflecting on what might have been if their lives had taken a different path. Of course, the truth of his feelings remains known only to him, but it's undeniable that her honesty has stirred old emotions, both for him and for fans who once rooted for their love story. As for Song HYE KYO herself, she appears both relieved and surprisingly energized. In the days after her revelation, she has been spotted attending quiet dinners with friends, walking her dog in the park, and even sharing subtle updates on her Instagram. Not statements or explanations, but small glimpses of her life, almost as if to say, "This is me, unfiltered." Those who know her say she feels lighter, freer, no longer carrying the weight of unspoken truth. The continuation of this story, dear viewers, is not just about what Song HYE KYO said. It's about what she unlocked. By daring to voice her desire without apology, she has sparked conversations that extend far beyond the borders of South Korea. She's reminded the world that even those who seem to have everything, beauty, fame, success, can carry unfulfilled dreams that are deeply personal. She's also shown that sharing these dreams, even at the risk of vulnerability, can be an act of strength rather than weakness. And maybe, just maybe, this is not the end of the story. There are whispers, only whispers for now, that she is seriously thinking about how to make this dream a reality. Whether through adoption, surrogacy, or other means, she is said to be exploring possibilities. Of course, nothing has been confirmed, and knowing her, she will keep those decisions private until she is ready. But fans are already imagining the joy of seeing her one day cradling a child in her arms, living out the words she so bravely spoke. Lovely viewers, as this chapter unfolds, it's clear that Song HYE KYO's journey is not just one of celebrity headlines. It's a deeply human story of longing, courage, and the relentless hope that it's never too late to embrace the life you dream of. Her voice has resonated because it's not simply about her. It's about all of us who have dreams tucked away in the corners of our hearts, waiting for the right moment to be brought into the light.